Every action has a consequence because the actions are significant. So if you do a mitzvah, that's a significant, powerful act. If you do a sin, that's a serious act. The consequence of your sin is negative. The consequence of your mitzvah is positive. That's what we call reward or punishment. We're told that the punishment is always commensurate with the sin. So the punishment of the Holocaust, what sin does that match? No, it doesn't. There is no such sin. Jews did not go out to murder millions of people. So the Holocaust was not a punishment. Not even the consequence of our sins. The exile in Egypt, 210 years. For which sin? We hadn't even been given the Torah yet. You don't get punished for every individual sin. You get rewarded or punished by the weight of the good versus the bad in your life. It could be, for example, that a person did 100 sins, but he did one magnificent mitzvah that outweighs the 100 sins. So who can judge these things? Who could know these things? That's why we are not allowed to judge. The Tanya says, you should feel inferior to every person you meet. How is that possible? I know I'm a very observant, orthodox, religious, frum Jew. I do everything right. And I meet a guy who does nothing right. I'm supposed to feel inferior to him? You're looking at a guy who is sinful, and you look down at him. Bad. What would it take for this person to stop sinning? He is so exposed. He is so vulnerable. He is so uneducated, unprepared for this battle. And yet, if he doesn't put in a battle, and if he doesn't struggle to not sin despite all the temptation, you call him a loser. Have you ever put in an effort not to sin? To you it came easy. Let's say you'll never violate Shabbos, you'll never eat anything not kosher, you keep every holiday, but you like to talk negative about people. That's your weakness, that's your sin. True. The sins are not comparable, but we're not talking about which is a bigger sin, we're talking about who's a better person. So you're inferior. Because you've learned more, because you know more, your sin could be considered an intentional sin. The guy you're judging, his sin is unintentional, it's out of ignorance, it's out of assimilation, he was never taught. But there's a difference between when you're judging others or you're judging yourself. A person finds that he's suffering from whatever, God forbid, and he says, it's probably because of my sin. That's wonderful. Whether it's correct or not is irrelevant. You're at least getting some moral improvement out of the pain. So you're using the pain positively. But if you say that about somebody else, what are you doing? Where's the benefit to that? If you're talking to a child, then you use the reward and punishment approach. A person who has never learned Judaism, but you're not talking about a child, you're talking about an adult. He's a genius in everything else. How do you approach this person? Do you start with the reward and punishment? A person who is intelligent, you don't treat him like a child. And so you tell him the truth in the first place, you don't go with the reward and punishment. That's the ruling of the Rambam. So it's not open to debate anymore. That's the right way to teach people and to inspire people.